Have you ever been in a conversation that feels less like a chat and more like a verbal boxing match? Well, today, we're going to break down the tactics of conversational bullies. And we'll be using that famous, or maybe infamous, interview between Cathy Newman and Jordan Peterson to show you how to not just defend yourself, but how to actually turn the tables. You know that feeling, right? You're in an argument, you think you're making a perfectly reasonable point, but somehow the other person twists what you said, and before you know it, you're defending something you never even said in the first place. You feel trapped, backed into a corner, and maybe you start to lose your cool. Yeah, we've all been there. So, here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at how to spot the early warning signs of a verbal attack. Then, we're going to expose the 3 most common conversational traps they use. After that, we'll get to the good stuff, how to counter them, and even get into the art of persuasion. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with one big takeaway that might just change how you see these arguments forever. All right, first step, feeling verbally attacked? Let's talk about identifying those early warning signs. So how do you see a conversational bully coming before you're already caught in their trap? Well, the clues are usually right there in their language. You've got to listen for loaded words. Words like admit. The second someone asks you to admit something, alarm bells should go off. See, they're not looking for an honest discussion. They're trying to frame you as guilty from the get-go. This is almost always a setup for a trap. A little something called a straw man argument, where they build a ridiculous version of your point just so they can knock it down. So what are these traps? Let's open up the bully's toolkit and take a look at the 3 most common, most manipulative tactics you're going to face. First up is the big one, the classic, the so you're saying trap. Oh, this one is everywhere. It's where they take your nuanced, carefully worded point, boil it down into a completely absurd, oversimplified caricature, and then they attack that caricature, making it look like they've won, while your actual point is left completely untouched. And here is a textbook, almost legendary example of it in action. This quote takes a complex point about deep evolutionary history and just flattens it into this ridiculous soundbite that's incredibly easy to mock. So you're saying lobsters. It's a perfect example. Okay, the next trap is a little more sneaky. It's a real master of disguise. It's called assuming the sale. This is where your opponent slips a hidden assumption into their question, and by doing that, they force you into defending a position you don't even hold. Just look at this question. Why should women put up with it? Seems straightforward, right? But it's not. It's a trap. It's secretly loaded with 2 assumptions. First, that there is something to put up with, and second, that you believe women should be the ones putting up with it. If you answer that question directly, you've already lost. You've silently agreed to their entire frame. And last but not least, we have the smash technique. This is a brute force attack. They might do one of 2 things. They'll either smash 2 totally different ideas together, like abuse and anger, hoping you get confused and tangled up trying to separate them, or they'll just hit you with a rapid-fire barrage of questions, like a machine gun, designed to overwhelm you so you can't possibly answer them all. Okay, we've seen the traps. Now for the fun part. Let's talk about how to counterattack. These are your verbal self-defense moves. So when someone hits you with that so you're saying trap, the number 1 rule is do not get flustered. That's what they want. Just pause, take a breath, and then calmly you hit them with a simple phrase like, actually, that's not what I was saying at all. What I was saying is, and then you just restate your original point. You take back control of the narrative. Simple as that. Now, to counter the assuming the sale trap, you have to put on your detective hat. You have to listen really carefully for that hidden assumption, that little bit of poison they slipped into the question. And here is the golden rule. You ready? Do not answer the direct question. Ever. First, you have to call out and correct their hidden assumption. And here is a masterclass in how to do it. See? Peterson doesn't take the bait. He doesn't answer why women should put up with it. He immediately targets the hidden assumption, saying, I'm not saying they should put up with it. Boom. Trap neutralized. Only then does he move on to his actual point. So what about when they hit you with that machine gun smash technique? They're trying to overwhelm you, to drown you. So your job is to become an anchor. You have to consciously slow the conversation down. Refuse to be rushed. Don't even try to answer all their questions. Just pick one, just one, and address only that on your own time. I mean, listen to this. This is a total power move. Peterson literally slams the brakes on the conversation. He points out that the questions are complex, refuses to be steamrolled, and then he takes control, calmly selecting just one to answer. That is how you regain control of the tempo. Okay, so you've learned your defensive moves. You know how to block the attacks. But now it's time to level up. Let's move from just defending yourself to actively persuading. Let's get into the real art of it. I'm going to give you 2 incredibly powerful persuasion techniques right now. First, use concrete visual imagery. Paint pictures with your words. And second, and this is the real game changer. You've got to find a way to gently show them that they already agree with you. Okay, so let's take a dry, abstract point, and there is 1/3 of 1 billion years of evolutionary history behind that. It's technically correct, sure, but does it land? Does it make you feel anything? Probably not. It's just a big number. Now, watch the difference. That's so long that 1/3 of 1 billion years ago, there weren't even trees. Whoa. Suddenly, that abstract number becomes a vivid picture in your head. A world without trees. Now it's real. It's tangible. It has emotional weight. That is the power of a concrete image. But this is the ultimate move. Stop trying to prove your opponent wrong. Instead, find a way to prove that their own actions and their own words already support your argument. See, people have this deep, deep need to be consistent. If you can show them they're already living by your principle, the argument is over. And this moment is just, well, it's a masterstroke. Peterson is being challenged on free speech versus the right not to be offended. And instead of arguing theory, he just holds up a mirror. He points out that his interviewer, in that very moment, is risking offending him in her pursuit of truth. He's not just making a point, he's proving that she already believes in it and lives by it. It's a conversational checkmate. So we've talked tactics, we've talked countermoves, but what if the key to these conversations isn't about the words at all? What if it's about the emotion underneath? Let's get to the real heart of it. A lot of the time, these heated arguments aren't even about the facts being discussed. Underneath all the tactics and the twisted words, there's often an unstated fear. A fear that you are the enemy. A fear that your ideas are a threat to their world. So the next time you find yourself in one of these tense conversations, just ask yourself this one question. Am I fighting their words, or am I really fighting their unstated fear? Because understanding that difference, well, that can change everything.